Hey there, my name is Michael Blanc, and if you're interested in apartment building investing, you are in the right place. Today's topic, 8 awesomely ways to maximize your apartment building profits. Here we go. So you're probably already familiar with the power of commercial real estate. Let me give you an example. If you're able to increase rents by just $50 and decrease expenses by $50 per unit, and let's say you have a 24-unit apartment building, you've increased the total income of the property by $28,800 per year. Well, not that much, you say. Well, it doesn't seem like much, but if you look at the capitalization rate, the cap rate is 7.5% for buildings like this in this area, then your tiny increase in income increased the value of the property by $384,000, $400,000. Sound a little better? Well, yes, you say, but how do I create this value? And in this video, I'm going to show you 8 awesome ways to explode the value of apartment buildings. And here is number 1. Tip number 1 is reduce your water bill. So typically in a lot of properties, the owner pays for water because they're not sub-metered correctly, and actually getting it to sub-meter is very complicated. So the owners tend to pay a lot of water bills. Now, it's not like the tenants take hour-long showers, but what happens is there's so many drips and leaks everywhere. There's a little faucet dripping a little bit. There's a toilet running a little bit, and that across your portfolio can really, really add up. So tip number 1 is to make sure your property manager, every time they go out to for any kind of repair call at all, they always run through the units and they look for any dripping or any running waters. Okay, so make that really, really part of the property management thing that your property manager does. Number 2 is to reduce your heating bill, and this is really for properties where you or the owner is paying for heat. And on some properties, the tenants are paying for heat. At that point, this is obviously irrelevant. But some properties, you're paying for heat. You're either paying for gas or you're paying for electricity. But this is really why you should stay away from buildings where you have to pay for the heat, because this is a little harder to control. And what happens often is, and I had a building like this, you're paying for heat. It's the middle of winter, 6 inches of snow outside, and the heat is cranked up and the windows are wide open because it's too hot in the unit. Ha! And meanwhile, you're paying for all this stuff. So there's a couple things you can do. One is you can have a programmable thermostat and something that they can't modify. So there's going to be a standard, whatever the EPA suggested heat is, that's the program you're on, and that will significantly reduce the heat. So tip number 3 is to reduce your electric bill overall. And a great way to do that is to go through, especially when you buy the building, and replace all the lighting with energy-saving bulbs. It's relatively cheap to do and saves quite a bit. Tip number 4, this is a big one, is to challenge your property tax assessment. Now, interestingly, this is we have to do this across our entire portfolio every couple of years or so, or whenever the properties are assessed. What happens is the city, county, even state, obviously tries to assess it at the highest possible valuation. And oddly enough, the best practice is to hire an attorney to appeal those tax assessment, and typically it reduces them by 25 to 50%, and the attorney typically is paid 25% or so as a retainer of whatever they save you. So it's a fairly well understood thing, and obviously makes a lot more sense for larger properties because attorneys won't work for free. So if you have a smaller property where the savings might be $5,000 a year or something like that, it might be worth doing yourself. But it's definitely worth doing it, because $5,000, roughly times 10 is you're adding you're adding $50,000 of value, so or even more. So appeal your property taxes. Number 5, price shop your vendor contracts annually. This is a big one because we kind of go to sleep on these properties, but what happens is year over year things go up 4 or 5%. Your insurance premium goes up, your landscaping goes up. So you got to keep these guys honest and rebid some of the bigger ones on an annual basis. So definitely do that. Tip number 6, an obvious one, is increase your rents. Now, this is easier said than done, and a lot of this work really has to be done before you buy the property. This is really, really critical, and your property manager is going to be a key member of your team to help you with this stuff, because you can use a fantastic spreadsheet like our syndicated deal analyzer and model the hay out of these things, and you can be the best modeler in the world. But what's behind those assumptions? If you say that rents are below $100, how do you know this? And the key person to answer that question is going to be your property manager. Before you buy it, how confident are you that the rents are actually under market? Right? My favorite properties are what I call self-comping properties. That's when you have rents maybe going from $550 to $650. Wow, that's a pretty big hole. So all I got to do is just make the ones at 550 look like the ones that are going for 650 and just do that across the entire building. I like those a lot. If that doesn't work, then you might have comps and might be next door or in a short distance from there. And then obviously then you need your property manager to actually execute on that plan. And typically what you do is you increase rents upon natural turnover. So typically between 20 and 30% turns over every single year. When that happens, you renovate the unit and you put someone in at a much higher rent level. So that's typically the way that's done. But so that's, just make sure that you're clear on the business plan, and your property manager is going to be the key team member to help you with that. Number 7, install laundry facilities or vending machines. Really what you're looking for is you're looking for anything that might increase the revenue. And this is a great way to do it. So here's just a quick math. Let's assume each unit does 2 loads of laundry per week. And let's assume one washer costs $1.25 and a dryer also costs $1.25. That's $5. Let's see, that's $2.50 a week, $1.30 per year. And I'm using a 10 cap for easy math, but you just added, you added $1,300 per value of a year. If you have 10 units, and that's also $13,000 just by adding laundry facilities. So that's pretty cool. So look for ways you can add revenue. Another great idea is for things like adding self-storage or building garages, or if you have, or building and providing self-covered or covered parking, things like that. It's a great way to increase your revenues and, frankly, provide more amenities for your tenants as well. Tip number 8 is pass on utilities with something called the RUB system. RUB stands for Ratio Utility Billing System. It's a long, complicated name for something fairly simple. Let's say that you are the building is a bit older and it's not sub-metered for either heat, water, or electric. And let's say you're paying for everything. You're paying for electric, gas, and water. That's obviously not good at all for many different reasons. So you could install separate gas and electric meters, but that's very expensive. So what you can do is you can do RUBs, which basically passes the cost on to the tenant. So you take, let's say you have 10 units. I'll make it up, your monthly utilities, I'll make it up, is $10,000. So each unit then, well, that's a little much. So anyway, no, is $1,000, and you have 10 units, is $100 per unit. And you pass that $100 on per unit in this way. And there's companies that will handle the billing and the invoicing almost like a utility company. And they actually pass the cost on to the tenant. They might charge them $3 per month as a billing service charge. And so it's relatively easy to do, but the problem is you got to make sure that your market allows for it. If no one else does it, then you probably can't do it because, well, the tenants aren't used to paying for the utilities. If, on the other hand, the utilities that the tenants are paying for the utilities, then that's something certainly that you can do. And again, work with your property manager to make sure that's something that can be done and your market allows for it. So that's pretty cool. So those are 8 awesomely ways where you can maximize the value of your building. And what's really cool about that is even a little bit of value can have a huge impact on profits. As the example we had before, even increasing rents by $50 and decreasing the expenses by $50 created $400,000 of value in our fictitious 24-unit building. That's pretty amazing stuff. So if you really want to maximize the value, always look for ways, work with your property manager, look for ways to drive income and to decrease expenses. All right, that's it. If you love this video, let me know in the comments below and share this video. And also make sure that you subscribe to my channel, putting out stuff weekly, download my free ebook, and watch this next video.